What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on that press conference that Nafisa Collier gave, right? I mean, she basically just blew the whistle on the WNBA and Cathy, what's her name? Cathy Englebert, and just told everything, all the comments and everything, and she's exposed Cathy Engelbert for the way, like her mindset, what she think about the WNBA players. And man, I really got a lot to say about it. But what I want to do is I want to play the audio, and then I want to stop it and probably go back and give some comments on what she said about Cathy Engelbert and her comments to the, because this, like I said, this gives some insight into what they think about the WNBA players, and not just WNBA players, but this has been going on. It went in college basketball when college athletes been playing for so long and not getting compensated. They was telling college kids, well, you getting a free education. Meanwhile, these major universities, they making millions and billions of dollars off of these kids, and then these kids have finished their education and most times and didn't have and didn't have any money to show for it. Or these kids was going to school and starving while the university was making money. And then if the kid took some type of payout or something like that, you know, up until recently, they just started getting the NIL deals. So, like I said, this just goes to show the mindset of big business people when it comes to people who they manage and people who who the talent that they're using. They don't really care or respect the talent at all. And that's a big part of the reason why the WNBA is having an issue with these players, because the players know that the league don't respect them. They don't respect their talent. They don't respect the work and everything, that goes into being able to perform at that level. Remember, these women are only getting 9%. What is it? 9% revenue share. Like, that's the lowest. 9% is the lowest across all professional sports. So, I mean, and it's not even close. Like, I think the next lowest is 18%. And I forgot what sport that was. Anyway, like, that's the lowest by a large margin. So, with that being said, I'm going to play what Nafisa Collier said, and then I'm gonna go back and make some comments on it.
I have prepared a statement that I would like to make before taking any questions. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money. It isn't ratings or even missed calls or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates. Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders.
Let me stop it right there. When she's talking about the integrity of the league, now it's cool for the refs and the league to allow these young ladies to take hard fouls and get hurt and miss games like Nafisa Collier did. But when you go out like Coach Cheryl Reeves and you criticize that, then you get a $15,000 fine. And I'm sure that Nafisa Collier, for her blowing the whistle on Cathy Englebert and speaking against Cathy Englebert, she's going to take a hefty fine for her exposing the and speaking about them in this manner. So she's going to get a hefty fine too. And they call that, and they're going to say that, she's affecting the integrity of the league. But it's okay for the league to do that.
Sorry, I had to walk here in my boot. I'm kind of out of breath. The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way. They ignore the issues that everyone inside the game is begging to be fixed. That is negligence.
All right, let me before I forget. And she talked. Nafisa Collier mentioned what is it called? Sustainability, right? So, in my opinion, sustainability is just the league moving the goalposts. You know, the league has had a certain amount. They've had success this year, right? And the WNBA saying that they want to know, like, is that success sustainable? They're moving the goalposts because now that you're having some success, now they're going to say, all right, we acknowledge you had success, but is that success sustainable? And now, we don't want to pay you if that success is not sustainable. But they should at least get paid for what they have done. And that's why I think these young ladies have came to, and wore those t-shirts that say pay us what you owe us and stuff like that. But the league is now moving the goalposts when it comes to giving them, a fair revenue share.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything.
All right, that right there is just that statement right there is really, really, that's tough. That right there just really exposed Cathy Englebert, and because these young ladies, and I'm glad that Nafisa Collier acknowledged the fact that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers bringing a lot of attention to the league, and they're bringing a lot of attention, and fans are really into the league. But now that they are, Cathy Englebert says, well, you're lucky that we give you the platform to make money off of off court. And the thing is, not every WNBA player, like, that's tokenism. Not every WNBA player in the league is going to have the popularity of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and Paige Beckers. So every person on each team, I don't know if it's 11 or 12, but they're not going to be able to have sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So if you getting league minimum, then you out in the cold. And then if your revenue share is only 9%, then you really not doing good. I think Angel Reese made like 80 something $1,000, 87. I think Caitlin Clark was around the same, about 87,000. Although Caitlin Clark made like 16 million off the court, and I don't know what Angel Reese made off court. But that's not Cathy Englebert's money for her to be counting, somebody else's pocket and then taking credit for that. That's between her, that's between Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers. That's between them and their sponsors and people that they do business with. But that Cathy Englebert can't take credit for that. It's just like when restaurants pay you, they give you below minimum wage because they say you're gonna make tips. Ain't no guarantee how much tips you're gonna make, number one, and then and now they even tax tips now. So now, like I said, man, if these big businesses can find a way to pimp you, they will definitely do that, and then want you to think they doing you a favor.
And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. I have the privilege of watching my husband run a league where he has to balance 100 different things at once. I won't pretend the job is easy, but even with all of that on his plate, he always takes the time to reach out to players when he sees an injury. whether it's unrivaled or even during the WNBA season. That is what leadership looks like. It's the human element. It's basic integrity, and it's the bare minimum any leader should embody. This year alone, I've gotten calls, texts, and well wishes from so many players across the league. Those moments remind me that sometimes there are things bigger than the results than this game we play. But do you know who I haven't heard from? Cathy. Not one call, not one text. Instead, the only outreach has come from her number 2 telling my agent that she doesn't believe physical play is contributing to injuries. That is infuriating. And it's the perfect example of the tone-deaf, dismissive approach that our leaders always seem to take.
You know what? And I can't believe that Cathy Englebert was even brave enough, or just like stupid enough to tell Nafisa Kalia how much they really don't care about these WNBA players. She's not even faking, like she don't, like she cares about these players. She's telling, basically her attitude is, you should be grateful. You should be down on your knees thanking me. And that's not just her attitude. Those are her words. You should be down on your knees thanking me, Caitlin Clark. That's just crazy. David Stern never treated Michael Jordan like that. He might have wanted Mike to know that, Mike understood that David Stern was his boss, was the boss of the league, but never, he was all about protecting Mike, protecting their golden goose. And this lady right here, Cathy Englebert, should be doing the same thing with Caitlin Clark. Like, nowhere in the world you should be allowing her to get beat down like that game after game. I understand, like, if the teams want to do the full court pressure and stuff like that. But knocking her down, poking her eyes and stuff like that. That's just not, it wasn't a part of basketball. And like I said, Nafisa Kalia blew the whistle on her and just exposed how she really feels about these WNBA players. I think what it's going to lead to, they're going to either have to have a lockout to show that they're serious, or they're going to have to get rid of this lady, Cathy Englebert. She's going to really have to go. I never thought, until this report, Nafisa Kalia said this, people always thought that the league didn't care about the players. But this right here is just right proof that you can't really ignore. Man, so y'all stay tuned. So we see where this thing goes from here. But that's all I got for right now. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.